Alright, here is a 23 thrown in the ties I did in a pug. This week was Tyran, Volcanic, and Sanguine. We ended up double chesting this, so it was a pretty solid run here. Let me go back a second and I'll show you my talents. Go over my talents and my gear. So for talents, I don't really change that much dungeon to dungeon. Going over the class tree, the only things I would change are if it was incorporeal or afflicted, I would take remove corruption and or hibernate depending on the week. One thing you might be asking is how come I have 2 points in well-honed instincts, which is the bottom left talent that casts frenzied regen when you reach a certain percentage of health. Most people would recommend only put 1 point into it because it's more efficient. 1 point is 120-second cooldown, 2 points is only 90, so you're only getting 30 seconds off. Literally the only reason I put 2 points into it is because I'm lazy. The only other, I mean, I could put it in Mark of the Wild or Heart of the Wild rather, or Innervate, but I don't want to worry about pressing those buttons. So yeah, what you see on the class tree is pretty much what I always run. On the Guardian side, I typically don't run 2 Survival Instinct charges. I'll put that point into Ursoc's Endurance. The reason why I'm running 2 points into Survival Instincts in this specific key and this specific set of affixes, Tyrannical, is because of the Totem boss. On the Totem boss, if a totem spawns and you don't have a defensive and it's Tyrannical and it's on a higher key, you're probably just gonna die, right? So 2 points or a point into double Survival Instincts will ensure that I guarantee always have a defensive for the totems. Other than that, it's a pretty standard build. I mean, some people will take out the points from the Moonfire talents and put them into Flashing Claws. That's fine, right? I mean, the top end bears do it. The reason why I think Twin Moonfire and Galactic Guardian is better is because it's more damage and also it's more rage generation. Rage generation on bear is insane. If you think about it like this, more rage gen will mean more after the wildfire healing. It will mean shorter incarns cooldown. It'll mean more iron furs, more mauls, more raises. Yeah, I mean the more rage gen the better, right? So other than that, Dream of Scenarios is super strong. If if you want to put the team on your back, you take this talent. I don't want to worry about pressing regrowth. I'm lazy. I don't take it. That's pretty much it. I wouldn't really deviate too much. My typical build is take out the point from double SI and put it into Ursoc's Durns, and that's pretty much what I run all the time. I do show my gear here in a second. Yep. So 485 trinkets. I don't have any defensive trinkets. I don't have the Chi Death trinket. I don't have the Tainted Heart. I have the Egg Sac trinket that has stamina on it. Definitely not going to be using that. Although my trinkets are insanely good. These are the 2 highest simming, I believe, single target trinkets. Maybe even AoE. So super lucky there. Stats on bear don't really matter. Just be happy with what you have. Go for item level, in my opinion. On all my crafted pieces, I have haste and verse, right? Haste is a great stat because it increases the rate at which your dots tick. The faster your dots are ticking, the more rage you're getting from Blood Frenzy, the more damage your Moonfire is doing. It's also just a fun stat in general. Versatility, I mean, it's a versatile stat. Crit, it's not terrible. It's decent for damage. Get some dodge. Mastery is the worst offensive stat, but it's not bad. I mean, more health. It's not terrible. And also having a decent amount of crit is really nice for augury, as you'll see it at the end of the dungeon. Augury is a huge portion of my damage. So let's get into it, I guess. So also I'm just gonna disclaimer here. I'm gonna pause a lot. Gonna be talking about what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. So first pull, as pretty much any tank, you should be pretty unkillable because you're gonna have all of our cooldowns here. This pull as bear specifically is kind of annoying right? We don't have Avenger Shield or Sigil of Silence, so grouping these mobs is super annoying. I mean, you'll see, I don't think the mobs ever get truly gathered here. So, first pull, I pop literally everything, right? I mean, you saw I popped Bark Skin and Rage of the Sleeper just right off the bat. There's really no reason to hold on to them. We have Incarn, we have pre-Incarn and, you know, Incarn, like Natty Incarn lined up, which is what, like oh, goddamn close to a minute of Incarn, right? So by the time we Incarn, or we run out of Incarn, the cooldowns are going to be back up. Another big thing I want to talk about is I see this a lot. It's crazy. I was watching a plus 26 and this bear was doing this. In the first pull of a dungeon, when you're an Incarn, you should not be swiping while gathering mobs, okay? Yeah, it's super easy because it's a 360 radius like Thrash is, right? So you thrash, swipe, it's super easy to do, but you're losing on so much damage and rage generation. When you're running through a pack of mobs with Incarn, you want to be, you know, turning, like you see I jump, turn around, so I'm, you know, keeping my momentum, and I'm mangling, and I'm thrashing. Mangle thrash, mangle thrash, mangle thrash. You don't want to be swiping as bear. Swipe is terrible. I'm pretty sure swipe hits less than an auto attack, and it generates you no rage. So you still press swipe, don't unbind it, but you know it's very, very, very low on the priority list. Yeah, so not really much to talk about here. On, I guess this particular pull, I would like to Ursul's Vortex right off the rip, because those hounds or whatever will chase after people and apply a nasty bleed. I didn't actually have it on this pull because I used it on the last pull, but not that big of a deal. So here, this is actually for non-tank players. These mobs that spawn right here, whoever's closest to them get hit, right? Like I can't generate threat right now, right? And you'll see this crazy Ogvoker just hover in, boom, and get slapped. If this was fortified, this guy's dead, right? There's absolutely nothing I could have done here, right? I don't think, I mean, maybe if I had timers, I could perfectly time a Thrash, but thank God it's fortified, or tyrannical. So here I pull everything. Look at my buttons right now. I don't have an ability tracker, but you can see I'm not swiping at all. I'm raising. If you want to do big damage in AoE, you spam the hell out of raise. I could thrash more to get my Ren and Tear stacks up, and I probably should have. But you know, if you're, as long as you're pressing raise in AoE, you're probably solid. Another thing is Iron Fur, right? You know, Iron Fur gives us armor, which is great. You know, it makes us tankier, whatever. But the thing is when you're an Incarn, you're unkillable. You don't really need that many stacks of Iron Fur. So, honestly, I don't even press Iron Fur for the armor. I'm just pressing Iron Fur so I don't overcap on rage. I'm trying to spend as much of my rage on raise as I can. And same thing with single target, mauling as much as I can. So here I'm going to Moonfire, pull the mobs back. Right there, I don't know if you guys caught it, but one thing I try to do is I'll Bark Skin in this specific scenario, but use any defensive before I even get hit, right? When you're playing a mitigation-based tank, you don't want to be reacting to damage. If I, you know, were to pull a pack of mobs, take half my health, and then Bark Skin, that's kind of backwards, right? I'm not a Blood Death Knight. I can't just, oh, I took 80% of my health, let me Death Strike. You want to be using your defensives to mitigate damage, you know, so you don't get to 50% health, right? So watch right here, right? Boom, I Incarn Bark before the mobs are even hitting me. My health hasn't moved. Same thing here. You know, raise. That's a very common thing you're gonna hear. Is just raise. If there is a priority target, sometimes I will mangle raise because of Vicious Cycle. That'll give us a little bit more funnel damage. Here, kind of awkward. I tried to pull these things here, but LOS, of course. You see my bear's having a seizure. I pull these things. This pull can be very scary because of bleed. I see I immediately get, 5, 6 stacks. My health is actually moving here. Our evoker kind of saves the day. Once I reach, 13 stacks here? Yeah, I get cauterized, so that's super, super, super helpful. But, it's tyrannical. If I die here, it's kind of my fault. And up until this point, I guess we're pretty early in the dungeon, but you can see I haven't used our survival instinct a single time here, so I'm effectively wasting a talent point. Honestly, in hindsight, I shouldn't have even gone 2 charges. I feel like planning for 1 encounter, yeah, sure, I guess it's going to help significantly, but, if I went Urshock's Endurance, I'd be getting value for the entire dungeon as opposed to just 1 encounter. I honestly don't remember, but we'll see if I actually end up using the second charge of SI. I honestly don't think I don't think I do, but we'll see here. So this dungeon, we do end up skipping one of the caster packs. We skipped the one on the left here. Yeah, we're going to the one on the right. Charge in, immediately thrash. I see a lot of people. I heard a lot about people struggling with threats on bear. I don't really understand how. It could be the whole swiping, right? Your first global in a pack, ideally as a tank, is going to be something that does a lot of damage, so you would just have infinite threat. Thrash doesn't hit particularly hard, but as you can see, I don't have any threat issues. We have Incarn for this pull. I'm going to interrupt that mob so they gather so we can AoE them down. Send Barkskin here. I don't know if I said this at the beginning of the video, but, Incarn lasts 30 seconds. Barkskin only has a 32-second cooldown if you're running 2 points into Survival of the Fittest. So I just send it. Like, yeah, I'm an Incarn, I'm unkillable, but when I'm out of Incarn, Barkskin's already going to be back up. One of the nice things about Bear is if you're running Brambles, which I think most people are over Bristling Fur, it makes it so your short cooldown defensives, so Barkskin and Rage of the Sleeper, are powerful offensive abilities. Brambles in the moment might not do a lot of damage, but over the course of their entire key, it adds up. If I had to guess, it's probably roughly about 5% of my overall. That's really solid, right? For just baked into defensive, that's insane. So on this boss, it's like the easiest tank boss in the game, right? In this phase, the boss isn't doing any tank damage. I don't think I pressed iron for a single time, right? I'm just trying to maul as much as I can. Barkskin, I didn't need to Barkskin for the DR. I just sent it for the damage. Mauling as much as I can. Just trying to swipe as little as possible. The right? Can I stop saying right? Jesus Christ. Yes. So, yeah, looking at the button, I wish I had an ability tracker, but you can kind of see what I'm pressing based off the highlight. I've had DPS die to aggroing that big mob right there, so, if you can, taunt it immediately and then do a hard-hitting ability like Maul or Mangle. Even Moonfire should be enough. Watching this is making me, pretty upset. If I was a Prot Paladin, Avenged Demon Hunter, or a Blood Death Knight, these mobs would all be grouped. It'd be beautiful. I accidentally Typhoon there. I did not mean to Typhoon that mob, by the way. Right. You want to keep the mobs together, not push them away. I just fat-fingered it. One of the reasons why I like tank, you see all these geysers around. If I was a DPS or healer and I stood in that, I'm just dead. As a tank, I could take a bath in that and I'd be completely fine. You see this focused Tempest right here is completely obliviating our DPS and your healer, and my health's not moving. I love playing tank. Tank is the easiest role. Maybe that's a hot take. Yeah, this fight is super uneventful though as a tank. I'm taking a sip of my beer right here and my healer is probably sweating bullets. I do remember this moment. See, I'm holding Barkskin here. I was thinking okay, maybe I should just send this for damage, but it's kind of nice here, just for the little bit of AoE threat, because these little mobs can take a second to gather. So I hold it there for a second. See, I'm swinging my cam around like a mofo here. Doing 130k DPS, that's not terrible. Yeah, but one thing you should be thinking about as a bear is, do you need to Iron Fur? I'll be honest with you guys, if I was doing like a world first key, I'd probably be spamming Iron Fur just like the world first bears are. I saw a breakdown of the number one bear, and his breakdown was it was Thrash at the top by a mile, and then I think it was Iron Fur, right? My down breakdown is going to look completely different to that. That works. If you like that, go for it. But I like, trying to maximize my damage, so I spend a lot of my rage on my damage abilities. So this boss goes down super easily, no deaths. This healer's doing really, really, really well. I believe the healer was 3.3k rated, so not surprised. I'm 3k IO, by the way. Look at the trinket damage, isn't that bonkers? Borrowed power, am I right? So we didn't kill the pack on the right, and we're not going to be killing it, because if we did, we'd be overcount. I don't skip anything else in this route. So as you can see, I pulled the boss slightly to the right, and we're just going to hug the left side. Right? If I pulled it to the left, we might run out of room, so I just do this. The boss's tank buster is Crushing Claws. I believe it increases your physical damage taken by 100%. So, I am pressing Iron Fur here, not for actual defensive reasons, just to be safe. I probably didn't have to because I'm in Rage of the Sleeper and Incarn, but just playing it a little safe here, just tyrannical. So here, Bear's like pretty insane here because you can just spam swipe, but I feel like a hypocrite if I spam swipe here. So I remember thinking like, okay, don't swipe. But as you can see, these mobs probably could have been pushed back quite a bit more if I just press swipe a little bit. Right there, the rare Frenzied Regen cast. You really shouldn't have to cast Frenzied Regen that much on a bear. There are some dungeons where, yeah, I mean, like Murzon's Rise, Sand Portal Room, dude, I'm Frenzied Regen off cooldown, but like in a dungeon like this, really, see, I got Crushing Claw, my health's not moving. I will get hit pretty hard, yeah, but if you're spamming Frenzied Regen, you might just not be using your defensive enough, or your item level starts with a 3 or something. Right here is like weird. Like I feel like I'm casting buttons and nothing. Like right there, did you guys see that? I'm spamming Thrash and it just wasn't going off. Kind of flustered a little bit right in that moment. You see, I look at the ads, kind of panic. I'm like, wait a minute, but it's fine. I have Incarn coming up here. I'm pretty sure I send it. I probably should. I won't need it for the next pull, and might as well just get it on cooldown. Get the CDR rolling. Yeah. So I can lay off on the Iron Fur spam and try to send in as many mauls as I can. After every boss, your top damage it's usually going to be maul, but on some bosses that can fully absorb your Blazing Thorns might be top damage. As you can see, I just send SI there and just tank it, but as we'll see on the Totem boss, Blazing Thorns ends up being my top damage by quite a bit, because that boss just, even when there's not a Totem, that boss does a ton of damage. Alright. This is the best part in any dungeon, to be honest. This is a super fun part of the dungeon. I love this. This is the most mechanically skilled part of, I think, in the video game, to be honest. As you can see, the 3.3k player got hit. It's tough. It's very tough. It's not what you want to see. This next, there's my damage breakdown for that boss if you care. Little weird, right? Raise and swipe are a little bit higher because of the ads, but you get a general idea. After the wildfire was my top healing on that boss, if you saw that. Not Frenzied Regen. So here, I'm going to pause this for a second. I think what a lot of people would do in this scenario is they would run forward past, like they would, hit this mob or whatever with like Thrash and then just not think about it, right? That's probably why, people have threat issues. As you can see, first off, I bark skin immediately, right? Boom, before I get hit. As you can see, I thrashed, I moonfired, I mangled. I have infinite threat on that guy, right? That, like, you don't have, like, if you're playing with me, dude, do not hold your like ability. Just do as much damage as you can immediately, because you know, as long as you're pressing your buttons and you're, you know, being proactive, you should be fine on threat. My health actually moved a decent amount there. I think my Wellhood Instincts procs right there. That's why I love that talent. So I put 2 points into it. Might as well, you know. So here, you know, these mobs cast Mind Flay. I'm not going to be able to stop every single one with Skull Bash. Luckily, we have a 30-second AoE stop with In-Cap Roar and a well, I believe it's a 30-second cooldown Typhoon, but I have the talent that reduces the cooldown by 5 seconds. It's kind of useless, to be honest. I don't think I need it, but as you can see, I have Incarn here, and my thought process right now is raise as much as I can and try to stack or get 3 stacks of Thrash as much as I can. I'm holding Barkskin for, I guess, next expansion. I should really just send it. There's no reason to hold it here. I'm still holding it, by the way. This is a mistake. You know, in a part like I guess the mobs that cast Crush do a decent amount of damage, but on a Tyrannical 23, I think as long as I have an Iron Fur going, I'm fine. I have a couple stacks of Iron Fur here. So right here, like see how these guys are casting Mind Flay? I don't have In-Cap Roar here, but In-Cap Roar has such a wide or such a large radius. I'm pretty sure that it would hit them from there, right? So, you know, you can think about that. The Mind Flay does do quite a bit of damage, so it's a pretty important interrupt. Well, I mean, it's important, but it's like the only interrupt, so you might as well stop it. Right there, see, I Barkshin immediately. You saw it right there. Like, my health did move a decent amount. Crush hits quite hard. Right here, this next pull, super easy. This next pull can do quite a bit of damage on the pull if you don't have like a defensive up. I think right here you'll see my health moves, even with Rage of Sleeper, yeah. Well, it didn't move that much, but it moved, and that's, you know, scary, for sure. The next boss coming up is, in my opinion, it's maybe the third, off the top of my head, the third hardest boss to tank in terms of incoming tank damage. I think the boss in Darkheart, the tree boss in Darkheart Thicket and Murzon's Rise last boss is harder, but... So, with this boss, when a totem spawns, you want a defensive every time. If you don't, you're going to have to time a frenzied regen or renewal, like all of this stuff, so you don't die. So in this, I have Incarn and Barkskin. I'm chilling. I sent a frenzied regen there I didn't need to, but just in case. That was, I guess, a mistake, right? Spending a global on a non-damage ability that I didn't need, not ideal. But as you can see, even when there's no totem, my health, like, I'm dying, right? So this is one of those bosses where I elect to Iron Fur more. Another thing I do, I think we'll be able to see it right here, maybe. Come on, please, happen. So yeah, right here. I don't know if you caught that, but I raised instead of mauled. The reason why I like to raise when there's only when there's a totem is because, well, first off, it's more damage, right? But I'm doing damage to the totem, the boss, and I'm applying the DR to the boss. I could maul the totem to kill it faster, but I'd rather just get the 50% DR on the boss. So, yeah, right there I raise, I have Barkskin, I should be fine. Frenzied regenning. I'm doing fine right now. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I'm finally going to use my second charge, or actually not my second charge, I'm going to use SI here on this next totem. You know, Rage of Sleeper's close to coming up, Barkskin's close to coming up, but my health's moving quite a bit, so I just SI here. I do Rage of Sleeper as well, I believe. Yeah. Rage of the Sleeper is one of those things where it hurts to hold it because it's a nice defensive or offensive cooldown, and you get the absorb shield, so... Look at me spam Iron Fur here. Immense APM. Probably like in the 500s at least. So I do Incarn here. Gotta LOS this. This kind of hurts to watch. I'm wasting Incarn LOSing, but whatever. Look at the DPS, by the way. This is what I mean. If you can go against a boss that can consistently and quite easily and fastly consume your Blazing Barrier, you kind of blast as a bear on single target. I do show my single target here, or my breakdown, and you're going to see our tier set's pretty nutty. It's my top damage by quite a bit. And then it's probably trinkets and whatnot, Maul. Click on it, click on it. Yeah, like as we can see, Blazing Barrier, top by a mile, Moonfire. That's surprising, honestly. I'm surprised Moonfire's higher than Maul. And then, you know, crazy trinkets. What I want you guys to focus on here is there's no swipe on the meter. The raise is on the meters, right? This is basically a single target fight. There's no swipe. Yeah, there's no swipe. That's very important. Swipe less. If you guys see the lag in the video, I'm sorry. I have no. When I'm playing the game, that lag isn't there. It's just the recording. That's kind of weird. This next set of trash on Fortified, the swell guys can be pretty dangerous, but one thing that's really nice about Bear is after the wildfire. In this part of the dungeon, there's so many mobs, you're pretty much always maximizing your rage gain with Blood Frenzy, so you're pumping out after wildfire. It's like crazy. I play this part not aggressive per se, but dude, I don't care about the healer here. Like I'm pretty sure I can carry the healing, so I just pull. I even checked the healer's mana at some point, but I just don't care. Like he was I just don't care. Just stand near me, boys. Yeah, right here, just raise. Lots and lots of raising, popping all the defensives. I don't have a weak core that tracks after the wildfire, but if you do, oh my god, dude, you could just save a wipe here. I just don't care. I'm too lazy. Something kind of interesting happens here in a moment. I think it's the next entry I pull. Yeah, see right here, I just get aggro on these things. I'm like, all right, where's this next? Or no, I kill these hunters first, just because you know I don't want them to stay in the back killing everyone. Right here, I do not care about these guys. Pull the goddamn sentry. The reason why I'm so confident, like I don't care about the stacks. I mean, I probably should, to be fair, but I'm an incarn. When you're an incarn, you're generating insane amount of rage, and as you can see, I'm spamming Iron Fur, okay? I am not spamming Raise. The reason why I spam Iron Fur there is because it's off the GCD. I can generate more rage, which means I can proc after the wildfire faster and more often, right? That's why I'm so confident here. Like, I can just solo heal this pack. Look at the HPS, right? I mean, dude, 100k, that's not even that impressive, to be honest. Like, I've hit 300k easy on, like, a fortified week.
Watch your feet.
Yeah, so here I'm just going to pull all of these mobs. These mobs are irrelevant if you don't have a sentry. Right here, I'm going to Typhoon. Yeah, Ursul's Typhoon, gather them all up. I'm cooking here with my Incap Roar. Right there, boom. I have my Interrupt, which I miss. Love that.
Watch your feet.
Perfect Gust right there. You guys see that? Check the healer's mana. Don't care. Pull. Why? After the wildfire. Great Zephyr right there. So on 2 targets, I believe Raise is more damage. So I just Raise here. These guys don't really melee that hard. It's a lot of magic damage, right? So raising for Ursoc's Fury Shield, I think is just better. I do have Incarn coming up here, but I hold it here for sure. This next boss is, you know, it's one of those bosses where when you get to it, just complete dread sits in. That's why I don't like Tyrannical. Tyrannical is not only, in my opinion, harder, but it's also just like a mindset. You know, every time you get to a boss, it just dread sits into your body. I've been in this key for what, 20 something minutes. The whole thing could just end right here. We do have 10 minutes, so we might be able to wipe. Got the cloak right there. This is the worst cloak. God damn it, unlucky. You know what? I'll take this. I guess this boss to explain a little bit rotationally what I'm thinking here. So I have all of my buttons, right? Like I said in the beginning of the video, Bark Skin, Rage, they're like offensive abilities in a sense, you know. So I pop everything here, right? Incarn super quickly, and I'm thinking here, get to 3 stacks of Thrash, maintain Moonfire, and then maul as much as I can. I am running Vicious Cycle, which is the talent that makes it so when you mangle, you increase the damage if you're raising maul, and then when you maul and raise, you increase the damage of mangle. So I do see right there, I mangle, or I maul 3 times and then I mangle, just trying to min-max that. It's not the end of the world if you want to just spam maul. It's better than spamming swipe and, iron for damage. Trying to pad as much as I can here with raise. You do want to keep those mobs as stacked as you can when they die because they do drop the puddles. Right? So they drop the puddles and then the Blotting Barrage drops puddles. So if everything's nice and stacked, you can clear it way more easily. Right there, I did not have Bark or Rage of Sleeper or Incarn, so I Survival Instincts the tank frontal because it does hit kind of hard. My health's dipping pretty low, so I Frenzied Regen, Rage of the Sleeper because it's off cooldown. I'm going to Bark Stand immediately here. I said I'm going to... There we go. I held it there for a second. That's not ideal. That's pretty much it. I mean, this fight's like clockwork. It's the same thing, just defensive the frontal, gather the ads, interrupt the ads if you can. That's pretty much it. Little tip here if you want to higher overall, because I care about that, is when this Ink of Azumat is going to die, if you can pull 100 Rage, so when you get big and do, or your mauls are critting for millions, you have a full pull of Rage to dump into it, right? So are we gonna get the rare no defensive tank buster? Oh, that guy died. That's the only death. Yeah, I remember that. I was pretty flabbergasted. Nah, we have a defensive. It's a nice thing about bears. You have so many defensives. Like, you really should have one for every single tank buster. So a little thing you can do is, that Demon Hunter died, so he lost Mark of the Wild. So I could Mark of the Wild to give him the verse buff. Verse is a great stat. DR helps him survive, does more damage. I think it'll increase the healing of his leech. But, I mean, I incarned, so I was doing big damage. I don't want to waste a global on something that won't help me do damage. So, the boss is about to die here. Here's the tank life. Nothing's happening. Oh, here's a unmitigated tank frontal. Boom. Well, technically, it was mitigated with Blazing Barrier, or the Blazing Thorns. That's why my health didn't move. See, I Moonfire that guy and mauling as much as I can here. Like, look at the numbers. I think there's a 2 mil, 1 mil. Look at the numbers. Like, how am I not topping? Like, when I see these numbers, I'm thinking, like, how am I not topping the meters right now? But GG, as you can see, we double chest it. 9 points. I got an upgrade for the Demon Hunter. The Demon Hunter wanted these boots. They were a transmog upgrade for me, so I was pretty upset. Okay. So here's my overall. This is, yeah, I would say this is pretty much what my overall looks like. It will depend on the dungeon. In a dungeon like Blackroot Hold, Thorns of Iron will be pretty low because that's like a 0 tank damage dungeon. Raise will be a lot higher, but generally speaking, Raise always my number one. The more raises you do in a dungeon, the higher your overall. Moonfire pretty consistently number 2, I would say. And then yeah, Thrash, Blazing Thorns, Mangle. I've had dungeons where Augury of the Primal have done my second damage. Guess it just depends on procs. Thorns of Iron, will typically be lower in a lower overall damage dungeon or tank intake damage dungeon. Brambles is even on there. Only 3.5%, but still there. And then I do show my healing done as well, I believe. Well, I should. Well, I know I do. Oh, first I gotta give this guy his upgrade in a 23. I love it. Lose the transmog. I see. I hesitate there for a second. Like, damn, dude. Maybe I shouldn't give it to him. And this is pretty typical healing breakdown. Urshock's Fury taught by a lot after the wildfire. Blazing Thorns, Protective Flames. I have done like Murzon's Rise. I keep saying that dungeon because it is the highest intake, highest damage intake tank dungeon. Frenzy Regen would probably be like 3rd or maybe 4th. It would be a lot higher just because I press it a lot more in that key, but I would say this is pretty typical, right? Urshock's Fury doing a lot because I'm raising a lot. After Wildfire, just, a lot of overhealing, but one thing I think some people overlook is, they think after the wildfire, group survival, but after the wildfire it actually does quite a significant amount of self healing, right? I wouldn't. I would. It goes unnoticed, but it's pretty damn good. And then the helmet chance just bonkers. I mean, like we get we get a trinket that's just good. Like we get a solid defensive and offensive trinket in our helmet for free. It's pretty crazy. But that's it. That was the run. That was one of the runs of all time. Pretty low overall, if I'm going to be honest. I feel like I could have done a lot more. I have an excuse. My excuse is that I was super cold. My hands were freezing. My hands were slow. I was chattering. My teeth were like, doing the weird chattering thing. And also, I haven't done a key in like a week on bear. This was just like a send it, you know, get some IO for my vault, and we ended up double chesting it. What a banger, am I right? But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. If you guys are still watching at this point and you like this type of content, let me know. I could absolutely do voiceovers for more runs, maybe some live commentary. I don't know. I feel like live commentary would be pretty goddamn hard because I don't really talk a lot. But also, if you guys want a bear guide, that's something I've been thinking about. If you need talents, you could just go to Wowhead or Raider.io. But I do think there are some things that I could say that a lot of people don't mention or don't think about as bear. As easy as bear is, that there are some things that you can do to min max it a little bit. And you got a taste of that in the video, like how to spend rage and defensive usage and whatnot. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.